All right, so Hillary Clinton had her big speech on Thursday night. It was like an hour long. So in case you missed it, in case you were busy or you're not a masochist, let me give you kind of a recap. All right, so Hillary Clinton obviously had several goals in this speech. The first one is the same goal she has in every speech, mainly to appear human. So it's obvious to all of us that Hillary Clinton is obviously actually a robot with a mechanical heart made of steel. She doesn't feel things like you and I do, but it's very important that she appears like she feels things, because while we might be ready to elect a woman president, we're not quite ready to have robots break that glass ceiling yet. We're not quite ready for that. We're still a little too bigoted to let the robots win, so we're gonna have to pretend that she's a human being. Now, how does she do that? Well, first of all, she thanks everybody on the earth. She thanks Bill Clinton, she thanks President Obama, she thanks Michelle Obama, she thanks her running mate, and then she thanks Bernie Sanders, which is the best part of the whole speech. When you see what his face looks like when she talks about it, they pan over to him and stay on him for like 30 seconds before he realizes, like, oh, maybe I should smile a little bit. I did endorse her after all.
I want to thank Bernie Sanders. Bernie.
Why are you so unhappy, Bernie? Be happy, Bernie. It's gonna be okay, buddy. It's not gonna be okay. It's not gonna be okay. And I love when she thanks Chelsea Clinton. Her daughter puts her hands on her hearts as if this is something a real person does. It's just like, program 305, mimic human affection, hands to chest. It's like that. Nope, that's not something real human beings do. That's things human beings do in movies. Obviously, these people aren't real humans. And then she thanks Chelsea for marrying her husband and bringing kids into the world, and he grabs her hand and looks at her. Again, not something human beings do, but, let's pretend that that's genuine. We'll give her that. Pretend that that's genuine. Sure. And not only does she thank everybody, she even used wordplay.
Standing here as my mother's daughter and my daughter's mother.
See, now, robots can't use wordplay, can they? Not a robot. The even worse part is when she gets into her family. Oh yeah, my grandfather was poor, and then my mom was poor, and then my dad was poor, until they weren't, and I was raised upper class, but whatever. We get it, Hillary. You have a pretend family, you were actually created in a factory, but these people raised you. We get it, okay? We get it. Okay, so the first thing was to appear human. The second thing is she has to criticize Donald Trump without criticizing Republicans as a group of people. Now, the reason for this is pretty obvious. She knows that there's a lot of Republicans who Trump wouldn't be their first pick. So she's thinking she can meander her way in there, get some of those moderate Republicans to come over for her. So she'll say things like, I'll be the president for everybody, Democrat, Republic, whether you vote for me or not. Now that's actually kind of a crazy thing to say. It's like if someone's trying to do violence towards you and they think it's a good thing, they're saying, no, I'm doing violence for you. That's what it's like when Hillary Clinton says that she's going to be the president for Republicans, for Democrats. How are you a president for me as a Republican if I don't want you to increase my taxes, but you're going to increase my taxes? If I don't want you to increase welfare, but you're going to increase welfare? That means you're not for me. You're doing violence towards me. It's all just words that don't mean anything. I'll be a president for Republicans. You are going against pretty much everything I believe, but saying you're not. And then you'll see her say a lot of things that are very Republican conservative-esque. She'll talk about how we have the biggest military in the world, even though she wants to cut it and Obama did cut it. And then she'll say things about how great cops are, even though she supports a movement that has maligned police. Maybe not all of them, whatever, but a large portion of them have maligned police. And a large portion of the people that this group, Black Lives Matter, supports are actually criminals, or were actually criminals. Not all of them, but enough of them that you shouldn't be supporting any criminals. And then the best part is when she talks about entrepreneurs, how great the entrepreneurs in the United States are, as if all of her policies aren't against entrepreneurship, as if her high taxes and high regulation aren't stifling entrepreneurship. She talks about it like it's great, but then wants to enact policies that go against it. Because what this is rhetoric to get people who are moderates to go for her instead of going for Trump or anyone else. Third thing she's got to do is she's got to bring in Bernie's boys, girls, women, boys and girls, women and men, people, Z's, humans, and the robots, I guess. He's got to bring in Bernie's crowd. Okay, so this is pretty simple too. She's going to talk about affordable healthcare, and she's going to talk about free college for the middle class and affordable college for everyone. And lastly, she's even going to go as far as to say she wants to get money out of politics, even going as far as to say she would like to appeal the Citizens United decision, which obviously, I mean, can we pull up that page of Hillary Clinton's donors? Yeah, that seems about right. I'm sure Hillary Clinton is the one person who's super motivated to get money out of politics. That really seems like something that, she would really want to do, because it's not like she's benefited from money in politics. It's not like the reason she's here making this speech at the Democratic National Convention is because of money in politics. No, she got here because of her own merit. She got here because, small donations, not like, millions of dollars or anything. Okay, so the fourth and most fun thing to see her have to do is she has to support President Obama while also saying he did a crappy job, so we need her, right? So the reason people want Bernie Sanders, the reason people want Donald Trump is because they feel like they're getting stiffed. They feel like they're getting the short end of the stick. Now, Hillary Clinton, being the robot she is, knows that she has to turn that. She has to use that for her. But she can't do that while also being for Obama. So all the pro-Obama people, which is a really big part of the Democratic Party, the people who actually think it's really not going that bad, she can't lose them, but she also needs to pivot so that she can get the Bernie Sanders supporters and even the straggly Republicans who aren't really super Republican, but do believe this isn't going well. So she has to support him and go against him at the same time, which is, it's kind of scary to watch. Like, she's so good at not having cognitive dissonance, it's actually kind of horrifying. Where like you and I, if we say something and we say something contradicting to that and we know that's happening, we're kind of like, it's uncomfortable. She doesn't appear to have any of that, which is kind of horrifying. Kind of makes you think she's a sociopath. So she'll talk about how great the Obama-Biden economy was. And then in the next breath, she'll talk about how people are getting shortchanged and how she thinks they're right and that she will be the one to help them. So she has to say that Democrat policies are working, but they're not working. You're right, but my Democrat policies will work. You see how that's kind of confusing? But she doesn't appear to feel that cognitive dissonance because she's a robot. So that pretty much sums it up. The four things. 1. Pretend to be a human. 2. Criticize Trump without criticizing all the Republicans. 3. Get all the Bernie Sanders supporters on her side. And 4. Criticize Obama while also giving him praise. But just don't forget, if you watch the speech, there's a ton of stuff that doesn't make sense. Like when she talks about the recession, and she says, we need to make sure never again that Wall Street ruins Main Street, or however she phrases it. When obviously she is a politician who is in Wall Street's pocket. Not to mention the fact that she later says that she's going to make it easier for people to get credit, when people getting credit that they didn't have was why the crash happened, that the housing crash happened because people who couldn't pay back mortgages were given loans. So when you make it easier for people to get credit that they shouldn't have, you create a collapse. So much of this speech shows exactly what the Democratic Party is like, what they're all like, what the whole week was like. We promise you great things that are not real life. If you have bad credit, you shouldn't get a loan. The bank shouldn't give you a loan if you have bad credit. That's real life. And the Democrats, they just lie to you. They just make you feel good. Doesn't this speech make you feel good? It does, until you realize she's a robot, because she's a robot.